So this will be the descent from the oneness and into the full manifestation. The one original transcendent Shakti, the Mother stands above all the worlds and bears in her eternal consciousness the supreme divine. Alone, she harbors the absolute power and the ineffable presence. Containing or calling the truths that have to be manifested, she brings them down from the mystery in which they were hidden into the light of her infinite consciousness and gives them a form of force in her omnipotent power and her boundless life and a body in the universe. We will be starting because this is actually on the number one and unity. We are not going to talk so much about the number one. We will talk about a lot of different things, but it is because everything is held in the one. And I have asked Nilima to read out some texts from Mother, some from Sri Aurobindo, which really emphasizes and lets us actually understand very really that this unity is there. I have read that many times, and I work very much from unity. But when I read these texts from Mother, it's her commentaries on Synthesis of Yoga by Sri Aurobindo. And she had evening classes. I think it is around 1954. So the children and the sadhaks were asking her questions on the various chapters. So this is what she says, and she reads a bit from it. And it is so imperative, it is so clear, that I don't think after listening to that or reading it yourself, you can avoid knowing, not feeling. That comes with our exercises and aspirations. But you will know in your mind, this is a fact. We are one. It is one. Okay, Nilima, I hand over to you.
Why are there some plants of one kind and others of another? Some animals of one sort and others? There are no two exactly alike combinations in the universe. All the combinations are different. There are no two movements exactly similar in the universe. There is nothing which is reproduced exactly. There are analogies, there are similarities. There are families. There are families of movements which may be called families of vibrations. But there are no two identical things, neither in time nor in space. Nothing is repeated. Otherwise, there would be no manifestation. There would be only one single thing. Manifestation is simply diversity. It is the one deploying himself in the innumerable indefinitely. There is only one reality, and all that is only a multiple expression of single reality. And whether you give it this name or that, or no name at all, you understand, or several names, you are always speaking of the same thing, which is the single divine who is all things. Sri Aurobindo says, the oneness exists. Whether you are aware of it or not, it exists. In reality, it makes no difference, but it makes a difference to you. If you are conscious, you have the joy. If you are not conscious, you miss this joy. Whether you know it or not, you want it or not, you are all united by the divine presence, which, though it appears fragmented, is yet one. The divine is one. He only appears fragmented in things and beings. And because this unity is a fact, whether you're aware of it or not, doesn't alter the fact at all. And whether you want it or not, you are, in spite of everything, subject to this unity. You think you are separate from one another, but it is the same substance which is in you all. despite differences in appearance. And a vibration in one center automatically awakens a vibration in another. But that oneness exists even if you feel just the opposite, is a fact that you can do nothing about, for it is a divine action and a divine fact. It is a divine action and a divine fact. If you are conscious of the divine, you become of this fact. If you are not conscious of the divine, the fact exists, but you simply are not conscious. That's all. But all that is essentially divine, and the divine oneness is a fact. You can't do anything about it. All your unconsciousness and all your denials will change nothing. It is a fact. It's like that.
So I will kind of take you on a journey using this symbol very much, the mother symbol. Auroville will look at Auroville symbol. We will see Sri Aurobindo symbol. We will look at Auroville. And then we will go in and look at mother symbol and the Matri Mandir. So it is actually, we have to see that this is, I say also in the integral yoga, you enter from where you are. You enter from where you are. These symbols, especially the mother symbol, because that's where I've been working very deeply on, you can enter it from multiple places. I will show you some. You should be able to experience many more by your own journey, because this is not like a fixed system. Oh, it is like this. No, this is one entry, because it is a hologram. Like Auroville, you can say is a hologram. This symbol is a hologram. Wherever you enter, whichever piece you take, the other pieces are within it when you open it, no? And we will do an exercise at the end, which I think most of you, some of you have done it with me once before, who were in Shakti Kumbh yes, actually in Oro Valley, but we will take it. So here you have Auroville symbol, and Mother describes it like this. The dot at the center represents unity, the supreme. The inner circle represents the creation, the conception of the city. And the petals, 5 petals, represent the power of expression and realization. Just put a little bit of this, keep in your mind as we move, because you will see how it keeps reflecting in where we are going. Here you actually have 3 maps or 3 projections of Auroville. What you have down here is the green circle, is the green belt. Auroville has a city, which is the galaxy model, no, galaxy master plan, and it's surrounded by a green belt. You see the lake, the blue at the center. What you see around is parks and mobility, but you see the blue is the lake, and the very island in the middle is the Matri Mandir and the peace area. So here you can see the city area without the green belt. You see the mobility, the movements. The elements of the galaxy all have a very deep meaning function. Much of it still to be explored, but it is very, very clear that when we work with the Matri Mandir and the galaxy, with Auroville, it is an interaction between the progress of the human beings and the progress of the city. We are here to build a city. Actually, the city is instrumental in building us. And not just that we go and do these things, because actually, and it is very clearly seen with Matri Mandir, when an element comes in place, it affects the whole place. We see it when some of the gardens are ready, okay? Something starts to work. It's as if you're turning on the spinning tops or switching on buttons, no? It's a process which will be going on for a long time, because it's supposed to reflect our consciousness also, and our consciousness will grow, very interactive with the growth of the city. So here you have Matri Mandir. So it's an essential part. It's actually a city with a soul. This is the soul of the city. Banyan tree is actually the physical geographical center of Auroville. So all the circles, what comes, goes from the banyan trees in their measure. The soul sits a little bit to the side, no? And the soul is the Matri Mandir. So I wanted to bring in Sri Aurobindo symbol, also. The descending triangle represents Satchitananda, and the ascending triangle represents the aspiring answer from matter under the form of life, light, and love. And the square that you have in the middle is the square represents the perfect manifestation. And at the center, it has the red lotus, which is symbolizing the avatar of the Supreme. And then the water inside that represents the multiplicity, the creation. This is Mother's the interpretation. And this symbol is a very old symbol used in so many religions and spiritual contexts. No? Now, I put this one here because especially I wanted you to see how all these symbols come back to the same center, like all Sri Aurobindo's writings do. But I want to show you something which we just saw 10 days ago. Look here. You're sitting working on the radials, the names of roads and areas in Auroville. And then somebody brought in Sri Aurobindo's symbol. So wanting to understand how it would be, I was sitting and then drew this. So actually what happened when this star was drawn, do you see what happened with the city inside? It's perfectly nestled inside of the new creation here. And this is not something which has been attempted. This was just, suddenly it was there on the paper. Very, very amazing. So again and again, when you work with the city, this is the living reality of it, which is completely amazing. So this is because we are working from the one, no? So I wanted to take these few texts from the book The Mother by Sri Aurobindo. And it is actually interesting because in 1927, this book was published. And at the same time in 27, the Mother symbol, Sri Aurobindo gave the colors of the 12 qualities, and the Mother gave the name to these qualities. This happens in 1927. So this will be the descent from the oneness and into the full manifestation. The one original transcendent Shakti, the Mother stands above all the worlds and bears in her eternal consciousness the supreme divine. Alone, she harbors the absolute power and the ineffable presence. Containing or calling the truths that have to be manifested, she brings them down from the mystery in which they were hidden into the light of her infinite consciousness and gives them a form of force in her omnipotent power and her boundless life and a body in the universe. The Supreme is manifest in her forever as the everlasting Satchitananda, manifested through her in the worlds as the one and dual consciousness of Ishvara Shakti and the dual principle of Purusha Prakriti. Embodied by her in the worlds and the planes and the gods and their energies, and figured because of her as all that is in the known worlds and in unknown others. All is her play with the Supreme. All is her manifestation of the mysteries of the eternal, the miracles of the infinite. All is she, for all are parcel and portion of the divine conscious force. Nothing can be here or elsewhere but what she decides and the Supreme sanctions. Nothing can take shape except what she, moved by the Supreme, perceives and forms after casting into seed in her creating Ananda. So when the Mother describes her symbol, which is also called the Lotus Mandala, she says the central circle represents the divine consciousness. So you come back to the Auroville symbol again. Okay. The 4 petals represent the 4 powers of the Mother. So the 4 main aspects of the Mother in creation, Sri Aurobindo talks about these 4. The 12 petals represents the 12 powers of the Mother manifested for her work. So what we saw in the one before, how she's moving down, as she is moving down, this is happening as she enters into the creation. So I put this one. She writes, let the Matri Mandir be the living symbol of Auroville's aspiration for the divine. The Matri Mandir is literally the mother symbol in kind of, you call it 3D? But it is, so we will see again how it is all the aspects of her symbol are in the Matri Mandir. It's living reality. So the central circle in the mother symbol represents the divine consciousness. And here you have the inner chamber that I think all of you will be able to go to. And this is literally where you have a ray of light that comes down. This ray of light goes down through this crystal, and then it goes unbroken through the whole building and ends in the earth underneath, in the lotus pond, which is underneath. So also you could say represents crown chakra, if you go into that, looking at it like that. The 4 petals represents the 4 powers of the mother. The 4 pillars of the Matri Mandir, because you see the Matri Mandir is actually hanging in the air, the building. It has 4 legs, 4 pillars. And these pillars were named. Mother gave them names. So Mahalakshmi, that is to the east, Mahasaraswati to the west, Mahakali to the north, and Maheshwari to the south. And the importance of Matri Mandir, one way you can see, one example, a story now, is that when the last pillar was concreted to be completed, the Mahakali pillar, the mother left her body, 17th November, no, at the same time as the pillar was completed. She did not leave her body. When that had happened, you can see with the timings, when they completed the work, that's when she left her body in Pondicherry. So it's really her force, it is. She said about the Matri Mandir, because it's called the Matri Mandir, Temple of the Mother. She also said, it's not about this mother, it's about the Divine Mother. And she is the Divine Mother also, like, you know. So it is, but it's like that. And then we have the Sanskrit, Om Anandamayi, Chaitanyamayi, Satyamayi, Parame. And I must say that I love Mother's translation. Om, she the delight, she the consciousness, she the truth, she the supreme. So now we're going to look at the 12 qualities of the Mother symbol. Generally speaking, when Mother talks about this symbol, she always, and she talks about the qualities, she always starts with this one. This is sincerity. And then it goes sincerity, the kind of light blue one. Colors are difficult because we don't have exact colors. And when you do a symbol, you kind of have to tune them to fit together also, no? So you can do it lighter, darker. This is not a fixed thing, I don't know. Sincerity, humility, gratitude, perseverance, aspiration, receptivity, progress, courage, goodness, generosity, equality, and peace. And she talked, of course, with Sri Aurobindo at that time, and he gave the colors in this order. And in the 50s, she talked about it with her evening classes also. And in 1971, when Roger, our chief architect, had asked Satprem, who was one of the disciples who were close to her, to ask for the 12 meditation petals of the Matri Mandir, the names for them. She said, I have it somewhere. And she took them out and she gave the names. And then she said something she had not said before. That was really for Auroville, okay? She said, the first 8 are in relation to our attitude towards the divine. The last 4 are towards humanity. So when you put together all these kind of guidances, you can enter into it in many ways. I want to tell you that when I started, I actually had already in 2001 first insight that this is something very special. Time went. In 2004, I had a very strong experience going into the body with meditations with the different qualities, where I saw there was a very different experience with each quality in receptivity in my body, no? So when I came back, I had to be out of oil for some years. And when I came back in 2008, 2009, I took up this research very, very deeply and strongly. I was also in my menopause, which is a helpful space to be in, I can tell you that, because actually you get a lot of sleeplessness and things like that, which is an excellent time to be by yourself and do concentration. So a lot of the work I have done very intensively, which actually laid a foundation for me to be able to do these concentrations, was done during that period. So we should learn to welcome all the so-called difficulties in life, no? Because they actually are very profound spaces of opening, no? So I went a lot to the Matrimandir first, and I went and I sat in different petals. And then I got the feeling, and I always follow these impulses, no? Or what we will call them inspirations, intuitions. So I started to go to each petal, one after the other. I got permission. It took me 1.5 hours to do it. And I would just be able to sit 3 or 4 minutes in each petal. So what I did was that I would sit down, I would concentrate, and if I would put a very good word on it, I would catch the essence. I would, not thinking, not it, I just try to put it here, and then go to the next petal, from one to the other. When I had been doing this for some time, something emerged that came. And that was, I saw that here. So sincerity, where we start. Sincerity is the base. We can't do anything without sincerity. It's like building in loose sand, because sincerity is the base right through. Sincerity. Then we have humility. We are really so small and we know so little. Even the ones who knows the most knows very little of all which is there, no? Gratitude. All this is given to us. Just look today where we are sitting here together. It's immense gifts, no? Gratitude. Perseverance. Now, perseverance is like the wood you put in the sacrificial fire. Mothers say you do it again and again, something 100 times, as if it is the first time you have done it. This is really what happens when you put the wood in the sacrificial fire. Agni comes, grows. This is aspiration, which is the next quality. So you nurture that flame, it grows in you. Now you must have receptivity. Because the divine is in everything and speaks from everywhere, you have to have the receptivity. If you have aspiration and receptivity, progress is a given. It happens. It happens. Now, when you make progress, you have to have courage. The world is not going to be overly happy, and you, all those inner elements of yourself, all your multiple beings, everybody is not going to be so happy for what is happening, no? So you need to have courage, okay? These are the first 8 that she says relate to the divine. These 8 are our integrity that we build. They are nobody else's business, actually. It's between us and the divine. This is our internal work. And when we stand here and we have the courage, we have to put it into action. And where is our action? It is in the human space. The change, because we are working with the collective yoga. So very much in this scenario, and there is one place where Mother says, because people are complaining, it's so difficult, she says, well, you see, if 10 people are doing a collective yoga, 10 people are doing the yoga, and only one does it. It gets spread out. It's pretty tough, no? But then there is a point when 10 people are doing it and 10 people are doing it, she said, that is as if one person is doing it. So you see, we have those. These are workspaces for us. So powers of manifestation, which means they're all in us. There's none of these things that we don't have. Differently developed or whatever, but it's like that. So you see, once you have this courage, now you go into action. She gives 4. That is all it takes to deal with all the human issues. and to shift them. This is transformative stuff now. Okay, so first is goodness. And then, because of the symbol, because of Matrimandir, because of the pillars, we know where the four aspects of Mother are sitting in this. Or we can see at least one entry into that. So you see you have here Mahakali, Mahasaraswati, Maheshwari, and Mahalakshmi. So mark all the four which are related towards humanity, all sit on Mahasaraswati. Okay, all four sit. And I put in my very simple language now. Mahasaraswati is for me organization, like mathematics and music. She's perfection, but she's very much organization. There is no way that she is bureaucracy. We can all agree on that, no? Huh? It is something, but it is organization. You cannot, with human beings, have one here and one here and one here. You have to have some order. We make rules and regulations, not the greatest thing, no? But actually, when you have a symphony orchestra, they play according to an agreed on script. Or you jam and then you play on an intuitive script, no? Huh? So goodness is sitting right here. And you see there are four of them which are overlapping with another aspect. And you see goodness overlaps with Mahakali. So now what is Mahakali? Well, two aspects which immediately ring for me is truth consciousness and love. She's the most loving aspect of the Divine Mother. For me, she was the first aspect of the Mother that I felt deeply, deeply in love with. No, if you can even call it something like that. So you see, goodness is not about being nice. It's about truth consciousness. It's about love. It's about order and organization. In that form that she represents, all towards perfection, because all of humanity, all these ones are towards perfection. No question about that. So that is goodness. So when we look at this kind, it gives us a kind of integrity lens, which shows that, if you look, because actually I can add that when we come to the gardens, the garden of goodness that comes here, and she says the gardens are fields of consciousness. That is life. So if you look at goodness and you look at life and you look at Mahakali and Mahasaraswati in this context, there is no way that you need any percentage to tell if something is good or bad, or to take your decisions or whatever about what kind of waste you throw out or what kind of food you eat. So we shouldn't be hard on ourselves. We're all in process, no? But it gives an integrity lens which is absolutely radiantly clear, no? Then we have here generosity. Generosity is a quality which we are not using consciously at all. I see it in Oroville, I see it in humanity everywhere. Generosity is a key power in manifestation. Nature is the most enormously generous aspect. Divine is very generous. We are not so generous. We don't consciously apply generosity. Then we feel maybe, but it's artificial. Sometimes we just have to institute things in ourselves. And you know what? The garden which is connected to generosity is the garden of power. So if we want to create a paradigm shift in power, generosity is a key tool for it. Giving up. Stepping to the side, all these things are acts of spontaneous generosity when they happen like that. And also what is interesting, it's coming later, but I just say it now anyway because I find it so beautiful. Mother has given a flower for each of the gardens. And the flower which is given to the garden of power is the power of aesthetic beauty. So you see the kind of tools we get for life. Generosity is key in shifting things. And power and money is the big things which have to shift, no? And this is a women's thing, so we know that very, very well, no? Okay? And beauty as an element is very, very key in the new creation. And by being in a beautiful space, you create a different atmosphere from your work. I speak a lot with architecture students, and I always say to them, you cannot have sustainability without beauty, because beauty nourishes our soul. So we need that. It doesn't matter if you have 10,000 water systems and the whole thing. If you don't have beauty, you are not sustainable. It's just like that. So then we have equality. And equality, the words that came to me when I was looking at this, and which actually bugged me very, very, very much, very difficult to understand the world we live in and who we are now. Mother says in one place, everybody should have what they need for their full growth, their full development, and their full expression in life. How many have it? Sweat, shops, children that work, children on the street, overtired parents because they both work 2 jobs full time, whatever, you know. This is so simple. If this is so simple, and I don't think anybody can disagree, it's the best for the individual, best for the family, best for the nation, best for the world. Why are we not doing it? We're doing the opposite. This is very, very, very strange situation. And that is very clear with equality. And you know, the garden that is coming from equality is the garden of wealth. And transformation, we comes back to that later, no? Then the last one is peace. And looking very, very simply, not going into high-end philosophy, everybody, because these are relating to humanity, no? Every human being needs to be needed and needs to be useful. This is very, very important. It's nobody who doesn't need to be needed and needs to be useful. Why do we have gangs? Why do people get into criminality when they are refugees and stuff like that? Why are they not grateful when they come to Sweden and everything is given to them? No, because they're totally alienated. You need to belong. You need to feel I'm needed, and you need to feel I am of use. It's essential to us. So the garden belonging to the, or coming from the petal of peace, is called usefulness, utility. So simple, so profound. Everybody is needed, everybody is useful. We pretty much have a peaceful society. Okay, so we don't need to go into the use. This symbol has depths and depths beyond where we are today. But today we just need to look at those simple things, and we are there now. The mother says that this 12 qualities is a symbol of manifestation, of double perfection, because it is in essence and in the manifestation in the creation. And this here, this is Sri Aurobindo says, essentially the 12 powers are the vibrations that are necessary for the complete manifestation. And the exercise we're going to do later, you will see what kind of experience, and it relates to this. No? These images that I have here are actually the 12 petals. They're photographs from the 12 petals. So each petal has its lights coming from a symbol screen like that. It's an Oroville artist who has made them. And there is an article where she talks about it, and she said when she sat down to find the context, the first one which came was sincerity, and she said there was only one line. Only one line. And that line is there basically in all the symbols that she made. So here we are again. The first 8 concerned attitude towards the divine: sincerity, humility, gratitude, perseverance, aspiration, receptivity, progress, courage. Okay? And the last 4 are towards humanity: goodness, generosity, equality, and peace. And when I was working very intensively with this, it was a sense also that when we work in groups and we take decisions, because we always take decisions about others, no? Okay, and we judge, we do. After taking a decision, the group, yourself, go back and say, is there goodness? Is it the best we can do? Can we shift something? Or this we accept. We don't justify why we do it. We accept that this is the best we can do. If we accept it's the best what we can do, Instead of justifying, we did it for those reasons, we are bound to do it better next time. No question. That's how we function, okay? Is there generosity? We usually forget the generosity, okay? For everybody, not for one person. No. Is there equality? Is the person thick or fat or good looking or not a friend of mine or from this or that country and cultural background? We have umpteen things which we go into patterns with people. So we can look at ourselves and then we can ask, is this decision conducive to peace? Will it bring more peace? No peace? Less peace? Acknowledge if we can't do better, this is how good we can do today, not better than that. So now I'm going to take you in another angle of this thing, no? Because Sri Aurobindo says in one place, this is 3 groups of 4. And if you noticed, I have been working here with basically 4 groups of 4 where they are overlapping. Okay, now there's suddenly 3 groups of 4. So going into researching that, it was very interesting because he says there, he specifies, top group is red passing to orange towards yellow. Next group. So actually, you get 3 groups, okay? Progress, courage, receptivity, aspiration. Partly maybe it's intuitive, I don't know, but it feels very clear. This is related to Jnana Yoga. This is related to using the mind and knowledge, okay? This is here. And we also have, of course, the gardens which are related so that you can look also on your paper and you can explore that yourself. Then we have perseverance, gratitude, humility, and sincerity, Bhakti Yoga. And then we have the 4 which are towards humanity, Karma Yoga. So we can see again a way to use them in our life, ourselves, freely, no? In the research that has been done, I don't have it as an explanation like that here, but I can just mention that last 4 years or so, a lot of work, because suddenly there was an insight that actually the way the colors are placed in the symbol are the same order as the chakras. Then going from purple here and taking white on top, no? Okay. So basically, you can take, because the symbol has 12 colors, but it's actually 6 sets, 6 sets of 2. 2 blue, 2 red, 2 yellow, 2 green, etc. So going into the body and working with the colors in the aura, prana, how you want to say, in the trying to sense the subtle physical, the colors there, and going into the body, that I've been doing it quite a bit, and I am sure this is a healing practice, which is not related to the organs. I would love somebody to do more research on that, because the way what happens when you lie down and concentrate and move these colors into place with a focus on the, whichever color is the chakra what you're using, when you come out of it after an hour or so, it's like you have had a total rejuvenating bath, totally like after a wonderful shower, something like this. So it is well worth to go in and research more. And using the same context of the 2 colors in each place, purple, blue, green, yellow, orange, red, no. You can really work, if you take then the words which are there and you take the gardens, you have the description of it, no? You actually work with a new paradigm. In the mind, which is the system maker, you work with equality and generosity, power and wealth. The way I have been doing it is simply through an internal conversation. And these conversations go very deep. Sincerity and peace, this is all the expression. Look at all the media, all these things. It's very clear in each place. You have a conversation with yourself, and your being speaks with you, and you get such depth in it. It's something very, very, very amazing. It really, and it's a very fast process to get clarity and to grow those parts of yourself, no? So now we will look here a little bit. We have Matri Mandir and the Park of Unity. So the Matri Mandir gardens are described as fields of consciousness. These are powers or tools, the 12 qualities, The gardens are fields of consciousness with the vibrations that are necessary for the complete manifestation. And Mother indicated they would have to be of such quality and beauty that people visiting them would experience physically and concretely the significance of each garden. And one must know how to move from consciousness to consciousness. And it must be a thing of great beauty, of such beauty that when people come, they will say, "Ah, this is it." It must be an expression of that consciousness which we are trying to bring down. And when you go and sit in the gardens, it's actually easy to connect. And even when you sit in the gardens, which are named but are not made, you connect with that consciousness or this field, you get it. It is there. It's very accessible. Matre Mandir has such strong, this continuous descent of light. This is all very, very, we go through a lot of difficulties the last years in Oroville. You can be in a whole ramble in your head. You step into the gardens, matter of steps inside, and your conversation shifts. It is absolutely physically tangible reality. We are so lucky, so lucky. Okay, next one. So here you have the image of the Matre Mandir, the petals, the gardens, and it's also here, again, you can see things which are very interesting. If you look at the city, this area up here is the industrial zone. Then you get the cultural zone coming here, and the residential zone comes like this. Here you have the international zone, which is Oroville's interaction with the world. And it's very interesting because you see, here basically you have those four which are towards humanity. Now, if you look here, you will see that these 8, they don't kind of continue. They close here, no? This is our life in Oroville. This is our life and action. Here, you have these 4, which are towards humanity, continue. You have let me see if I get it right. Here you have the Garden of Unity. You have the amphitheater from this morning, which I say is unity in diversity. Here you have the gardens of the unexpected, and here you have the international zone, Oroville's interaction with the world. Every level you move in, you see these kind of things, and you understand what is kind of going on here. Yes, so I want to say a little bit few words on the flowers also, because Mother has done an extensive work on flowers, and we use it a lot in Oroville, okay? So there are a few books. This is the handy one, which you can walk around with in the garden and like that, and which you can always easily look it up. And this is a very expensive book, which has photos of all the flowers. It's almost 900 flowers now. So in this work, she was very clear that flowers speak to us when we know how to listen to them. And it's part of opening up yourself widely, no? So I just decided to take 3 examples here. It's connected to the garden. So the garden of equality, the power of equality and the garden of wealth. And the flower she has selected is the water lily, which she has named wealth. And again, true wealth is the wealth that one offers to the divine. And then you look at the context of wealth, like I just mentioned it before. This is the garden of utility, the peace petal, the garden of utility. And the name of the flower is Usefulness of the New Creation, Usefulness of Oroville, a creation which aims at teaching men to surpass themselves. And this is the petal of perseverance and the garden of perfection. And Mother has given this flower psychological perfection. It's the plumeria. And then she says, it's a several pages long talk that she gives to the Ashramites. But she says there's not one psychological perfection, but 5, like the 5 petals of the flower. And those 5 are sincerity, faith, devotion, aspiration, and surrender. And that is, again, one of these angles where you look, what do you need to develop inside yourself to have this psychological perfection? It's all about psychology, you know. So this is again, now I end it here with those lotuses, where the white lotus symbolizes Aditi, the Divine Mother, and the pink lotus is the avatar. So, thank you very much.